Hi, my name is Josie Sockwell. I'm a psychology major with an art minor, and my topic is portrait photography. So, when initially thinking of portrait photography, I started with portrait paintings as it was the first thing that really introduced the world to capturing a face of someone else as cameras weren't around at the time. So, I want to start off with the golden ratio, which, in this case, the golden ratio or golden spiral occurs when you spiral a line through the golden rectangle. And in 1509, Italian mathematician Luca Pacioli published the book De Divina Proportion, which, alongside illustrations from Leonardo da Vinci, praised the ratio as representing divinely inspired simplicity and orderliness. And so, applied in art, as pictured here, when applying the golden ratio spiral onto Johannes Vermeer's A Girl with a Pearl Earring, it shows how your eye is more drawn from the top of the headscarf down across her face, and the pearl earring is more the focus of the piece. But through the spiral, you can see how your eyes move more towards it. Another example in portrait paintings is Portrait of Madame X. The image is relatively close to the viewer, so it's fairly detailed, especially with the folds in the dress and the table leg. But Madame Gautreau's face is slightly less detailed. To the point, it's the focus of the piece, as the point of her nose, as you can see right here, it's more zoomed up, draws the viewer towards it as she's looking away, and as the curvature of her waist is you start there and you go up and you move more towards her face as she's looking away. During the time, it was seen as more like a seductive piece, and people were more amazed by it, as most portraits were looking directly at the person who was portraying them, but in this one she's looking away, not at all looking at the person. Transitioning from portrait paintings into photography, it's good to know photography composition. So the phi grid is a very similar design to the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is basically in every camera that you use. It helps line up portraits or pictures that you want to make. But it's basically two horizontal lines and two vertical lines. However, instead of having 9 equal sections like in the rule of thirds, the lines in the phi grid are moved slightly towards the center to align with the golden ratio, and using this system helps artists and photographers create more balanced and pleasing images. So, using the phi grid in photography, most commonly it's used when taking landscape photos. It creates a level of visual harmony rarely achieved through other artistic composition rules. Seascapes also benefit from this grid, especially when colorful sunsets are involved. So you can line up the horizon with the top line, and you can have almost a symmetrical image, but the clouds also have space to be a feature of it, and yet there's still enough room for reflections and colors and everything on the water. So more to portrait photography, the Fibonacci spiral is one of the main ways photographers use golden ratio in photography. Many famous photographers are known for using their golden ratio in photography. Henry Cartier-Bresson used it as he captured life as it happened. He used a 50 millimeter lens his entire career, focusing less on the gear and more on the composition. The images that are on screen are all his work, and they were images of everyday life, but captured in a way that was interesting and thought-provoking. and he had a powerful way of using golden ratio in photography to bring the mundane to life. As you can see, he really liked making things the center of pieces, with this one being the man here, this one being the camera wanting to be more towards, and it goes more towards out with the arm of the chair and his leg. This one you first instantly look at this woman, and then you go out and you look at the woman who's less far back, and then with this one, you're looking at this one, and then it's more focused on the man, and the center of the piece is more what he's writing. When looking towards find something that I've done, I personally love photography. I've always done photography. More towards the last years of my high school, I used it to either help people with graduation photos or just photos in general. Sometimes I'd be paid for it, sometimes I wouldn't. But in general, it's something I really enjoy. So I applied the Phi Grid and the Fibonacci spiral onto it. This top one up here, I used, obviously when I took this photo, she was more towards the middle of the Fibonacci grid, and then everything else spaced out correctly. The one on the bottom left, my friend Talia, I put her in the bottom right corner as she's the focus there, but there was still room to see other great things. And then with the Fibonacci spiral, in the top middle, my friend Talia took this picture of her. I could find that I could see how the view was drawn from like looking at her arm or her hair up into the eye being like the centerpiece. Same can be said for this one down here in the middle. You're in her face more specifically, your eyes more towards on the jawline going up and then to the eye. This one down here in the bottom, is my friend Levi. You're first starting with the cap, obviously, as it's thrown in the air, and you're moving out towards his face, which is what I think the focal point of the picture is. And then the same with this cap picture. You're looking at her first and then going out, and then the cap being the centerpiece. So in conclusion, Phi is used in everything we use, but it's used creating either beautiful art, photography, and I thoroughly enjoyed applying the Phi Grid and golden ratio spiral into my photos, as it's not something I really used. I used the Phi Grid and rule of thirds when taking photos, but the Fibonacci spiral, I never really thought to use it, as I can't really apply that on the camera. But I noticed that with my artistic eye, I could see how I applied it in the moment, and I could tell when something looked good, and I could apply the spiral on top to see how when I thought it looked good, it also coincides with Phi. There are my citations. Thank you for watching.